It's time to take off your clothes, enjoy clothes-free living, and join us for Naked, Nudists, and Naturists.
Welcome to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, the show that celebrates clothes-free living for all. I'm your host, Frank Stone.
And I'm your correspondent, Lisa Monroe, and I'll be reporting on all things within the naturist community. So it's time to get naked and join us.
And enjoy clothes-free living on Naked, Nudists, and Naturists. Well, greetings and welcome in to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 36 today. Thank you for being with us. As you know, we look forward to this time together with you. Every single Saturday morning, we drop a brand new show, 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, and it farms out to all the podcast platforms after that. But we're going to enjoy the next hour together. The pool is fine. The hot tub is fired up. You know what's on the grill? All kinds of good stuff. Cooler off to the left, filled with ice and your favorite drinks. Off to the right, vegetables, fruit, even some chips. Those of you who like chips, we have everything here. We even have extra towels and suntan lotion. Can't go wrong coming in for the hour and enjoying the clothes-free living life for all of the right reasons. Glad you're with us. Before we dive into all of that content, I just want to mention up front, we hardly ever do this. We've only done it a couple of times. But we've talked about the numbers a little bit on the show, and they're really good, and we're very appreciative for you listening. And we almost never ask for anything in return, but today we are, and that is, would you be so kind as to give us a review? And by the way, 5 is the highest you can give. Thought I'd point that out. Either on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to us. Certainly on YouTube, and I don't mention that enough on this show. Every Wednesday we have a preview of the upcoming show on YouTube. I post those on Twitter, but you can go right to YouTube. Just fire up Naked, Nudist, and Naturist and subscribe there as well. And that's what we are asking today, a review and subscribe. That pushes our presence up a little bit in the world of podcasts, not just Naturist podcasts, but all podcasts. We are not very aggressive about that. We just do our thing and enjoy being with you every week. But if you could do us that favor, like, review, subscribe on the podcast platform as well as YouTube, we would appreciate that very much. And now let's get to a brief report from ANDEE RODGERS, the Chair of Women in Nude Recreation.
Hi there, this is ANDEE.
And this is Tom.
We want to let you know how our very first stop on the Winteron Wheels tour went. And we were so happy to start our tour at the Willamatans, just outside of Marcola, Oregon, because we have so many friends there to encourage us and kind of help us figure out exactly what we're going to be doing. And so on that Saturday afternoon, I had 20 women that came out to be a part of my first ImPerfect presentation. And I learned that there was one young woman that was visiting for the first time, and she decided to join us. What a privilege to be the first woman that she heard from during her first nudist experience. That was a wow for me. I speak for about an hour talking about my life story and the journey that led me to nudism and what nudism has done for me and for my mental well-being. And then at the end of the talk, I asked for a volunteer to be a living art piece. I was so pleasantly surprised when I got 2. So we wrote words of encouragement on their bodies using some washable markers. And these words were precious, beautiful, brave, inspiring, valuable, worthy, a beautiful soul, and many others. And these women were just so inspired by this as well. Kari was one of the models, and she is also in the WOW calendar with me. We're both Miss December. And she said it was incredibly empowering to remove her clothing and have people write words of encouragement about her on her body. And she loved that so much that she left those words on. And they were still on her body the next day when we were invited over for coffee and homemade muffins at their house.
And there you go, ANDEE RODGERS, the Chair of WINR for Anner. You know what that means, right? Women in Nude Recreation for the American Association of Nude Recreation. It's a mouthful, but you know what it is. And she does an absolutely terrific job, and her husband, Tom, helping as well. We will have another report from ANDEE RODGERS on next week's show. Very intelligent, very articulate lady. We thank Mitch London for appointing her to the chair. And we're looking forward to more reports from ANDEE RODGERS, as well as a full interview a little bit down the road. Well, you are listening to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 36 today. And as you can tell, and as I can tell, by the music that has been sneaking up on us for the last few moments, it's time to bring in the one, the only, the terrific, the one-of-a-kind, fully clothes-free and fully smiling and fully enjoying life, the very terrific Lisa Monroe. And here she is, the one and only, the way over-the-top, clothes-free and smiling and dancing, whatever any of that means, the terrific Lisa Monroe. Good morning, Lisa. How are you today?
Good morning, Frank. And I am always over the top. Well, not really, but I'm actually a quiet, shy little person. What can I tell you?
Yeah, right.
Okay, I don't think you bought that, did you? Okay, just be that way.
I don't even know what over-the-top clothes-free means, but it sounds like it's a good thing to me. What do you think?
Oh, I hope it's a good thing, so we'll go with that. It works for me.
Absolutely.
And you too.
That's right. Okay, the second email is fairly lengthy, but we're going to read it because it's worth it, and if we don't have full time to discuss it, we'll extend this to the next show. But it has to do with the age-old question that we get asked a lot for advice, wisdom, knowledge. One partner loves the nude lifestyle, one partner does not. So what do we do? And this guy sent us a letter, and actually things turned out pretty well. So we'll go ahead and read this. It says, "Hi, Frank and Lisa. Let me start out by saying how much I love your podcast. I think it was episode 21 that you read a letter from a gentleman who could not convince his wife to try naturism. So please let me tell my story. Throughout my youth, I grew up in the country near a lake. My neighborhood had only one girl in our relative age group, so skinny dipping after dark was a pretty common thing. Keep in mind, this was the late 60s and early 70s. My wife and I married at 18 years old, and I was in the Navy. In 1978, I was stationed in San Diego, and we as a couple went a couple of times to Black's Beach. My wife would lie on her stomach, but cover up every time she stood up. Due to ship schedules, she and my infant son went back to our home state, and every time I came back to port in San Diego, I practically lived at Black's. Fast forward to 2022, and why don't you take it from there?
We live within about 30 minutes from a clothing-optional camping resort. They advertised celebrating Naked Hiking Day with a prize if you completed a 5K hike around their property.
All right. Well, Lisa Monroe, thank you very much. We do need to head for the hills here to get to our interview. Always great to see you. Always great to have you here. Please remain clothes-free, smiling, and dancing all week, and we'll see you next time.
Absolutely. You too. Take care.
All right. Have a great day.
Bye. Bye.
Always a ray of sunshine when she shows up at the studio, the terrific Lisa Monroe. And when I mentioned that before in a previous show, we have 3 other women who work here. They said, hey, I thought I brought sunshine every day too. And they do. But Lisa doesn't actually work here. She only pops in for her segments. So nothing personal intended, ladies. Yes, you bring sunshine to the studio every day. And I only point out when Lisa brings it because she brings it so sparingly because she doesn't work here every day. I think I got myself out of trouble. We'll find out. But you are listening to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 36 today. Well, let's get to part 1 of my interview with the very terrific, highly articulate, obviously very intelligent gentleman from the UK, Jonathan Ward. He goes by both names. He is the chair, he is the lead of Young British Naturism, all about getting the group 18 to 35 involved, and he's doing a great job. So let's do it right now. Part 1 of my interview with the very terrific John Ward. So let's head over to the UK. We are going to meet the lead of Young British Naturists, a part of British Naturists. We've talked about them before. We've had some people on from that organization, and this man leads it all right now. So let's bring him to the show, find out what it's all about. From the UK, from Young British Naturists, John Ward. Good morning, John. How are you today?
I am very good, thank you. It is raining as usual here because it is always raining in the UK, but lovely to be on your show today.
Glad to have you here. I'm guessing the outdoors, naturist, clothes-free living kind of thing really doesn't go over well this time of year. Is that safe to say?
That is definitely safe to say. We don't really have great weather, to be honest, at most points of the year, but especially not during winter months. I don't do Fahrenheit. It confuses me. Okay. But Celsius-wise, at the moment, it hasn't got above 10 degrees for about 2 weeks. So I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's very, very cold. So naturism for us is more so confined to summer months. When we at least have temperatures somewhere above 10 degrees. But one of the challenges that we always have is trying to get people to volunteer and to give up their free time to help and promote naturism. There are lots of people who are great in the community and are a big part of it. But it's very different going to an event and enjoying it to actually trying to organise things and run events and plan events. Because that's a significant time commitment. I spend a lot of my time outside of paid work doing work for British Naturism. Not everybody either can do that because of family commitments or necessarily is that bothered by it. So the encouraging people to volunteer side of this role can sometimes be challenging as well. But I'm hoping that as we rebuild Young British Naturism, more people will become involved and will want to take part in the running and operation of Young British Naturism. We've been around for, I think, about, I don't know exactly, 25 years or over now. But historically, it's gone through peaks and troughs in activity. We've had somebody who's really engaged in organising events and then they've aged out. There's been a bit of a gap before somebody else takes over. So, again, part of my role now is trying to make sure that there is somebody to take over from me when I age out, who's able to continue the work that we are doing. Because I don't want Young British Naturism to just fall apart as soon as I age out. We need to make sure that there's continuity. So it's also future planning and trying to get those people involved now to get to know BN, how things work, so that then the mantle can be passed over to them when I'm no longer in post.
And I'm guessing faking your birth certificate when you hit 35, changing it to, I'm actually 20. They made a mistake. That's probably frowned upon, I'm guessing.
I think people know me too well by this point anyway. I go to events now and people are saying hello and I'm like, I have no idea who you are.
They know you, though.
And it's even worse when I see people clothed because I don't recognize people clothed.
Exactly. That's exactly
I know people naked, but not clothed at all.
Yeah. The very terrific and highly articulate Jonathan Ward, the lead of Young British Naturism. You can check them out, bn.org.uk, and fish for YBN. It's all there. And we want to hear from you early and often. Find us on Twitter. We're easy to find, Naked Nudists and Naturists. Also send us an email, nakedforevermore@gmail.com. You can hit us up on the website. You can even leave messages on Spotify. And we have a weekly question for you there as well. We really appreciate this time together, and we thank you every single week for being a part of the show. Well, thank you for being with us on Naked, Nudists, and Naturists today, episode 36. We give you a brand new show every Saturday morning at 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. Continue to join us. Check us out on our website, nakednudistandnaturist.com, Spotify, Google, Amazon/Audible, Apple Podcasts, and also on Twitter. You can write us anywhere, anytime, any place. And we thank you for being with us today. Plan to join us for every single one of our shows here and have your clothes off when you're listening. We have our clothes off when we're broadcasting, enjoying the naturist life.
We celebrate clothes-free living for all. Remember to enjoy being naked and join us again for Naked Nudists and Naturists.
We drop a brand new show every Saturday morning, so come back and join us. Have your clothes off when you do for Naked, Nudists, and Naturists. Have a great clothes-free day.